Life, a precious gift of nature, may still be a riddle wrapped in enigma, but a precious one nevertheless. But nature, which is so kind to us, also has some lethal weapons hidden in its armory. Time and again, humanity has been struck by epidemics. In India, other parts of Asia, in Africa, in Europe, and almost everywhere. There were times when bacterial or virus-caused diseases wiped off the whole population of a village. When epidemic forced thousands of people to become refugees. Diseases like smallpox have been devastating. They disfigure, they blind, and they even kill. Based on the study of the mummy of Ramses V, an Egyptian king who ruled about 1150 years before Christ, it has been deduced that he had died of smallpox. Virus can enter our body system and only then is able to multiply, that is only within the living cells of a host. Bacteria is also very small but bigger than virus and does not require a host. History of India is replete with episodes of epidemics. But India is now free of so many diseases caused by viruses and bacteria. What has made this possible is the development in the field of vaccines. It has been nothing short of a miracle.
The Indian vaccine industry has been able to develop vaccines that are affordable and can be made at high volume. We have introduced a number of new vaccines and new vaccine formulations into the market, which have resulted in WHO pre-qualifying these vaccines and then making them available for global communities.
The emergence of vaccine industry is among India's biggest success stories. Today, almost every third vaccine used in the world is produced in India. A vaccine is a biological preparation that provides active acquired immunity against a particular disease. A vaccine typically contains an agent that resembles a disease-causing microorganism and is often made from weakened or killed forms of the microbe, its toxins, or one of its surface proteins.
Within a given infectious organism, what is the part which is creating a problem? That's one thing. And at the same time, what is the part of that organism that helps to building up the immunity? So once you know, okay, this is the part of the organism that gives me immunity, only that part is taken, a vaccine is made, and when that is given, or just that part is given to the human being, then there is no infection. But vaccine creates memory, immunological memory we call. So body knows, okay, this is foreign, and if something like this comes in, I have to fight. That memory goes to the body. But at the same time, that vaccine doesn't cause any problem to the individual.
Vaccines can be prophylactic, which means it will prevent or ameliorate the effects of a future infection by a natural or wild pathogen. Or it may be therapeutic, like vaccines against cancer, which are now being investigated. Every year, vaccines prevent some 30 lakh deaths and save some 7.5 lakh children from being crippled or disfigured. In the opinion of World Health Organization, no other approach except safe water practice has been so effective in reducing mortality. The influence has been even more than that of antibiotics. Manufacturing of vaccines in India started as a part of the national immunization program that involved a network of state-owned manufacturers. As per the Indian Journal of Medical Research, initially, the focus of the Indian vaccine manufacturers was preventing diseases like cholera, plague, smallpox, rabies, and anthrax.
Since BCG gives protection against childhood tuberculosis, so it is very difficult to totally eliminate BCG at this stage, since any new vaccine that has to be evaluated for a long time. So it's more logical to give a booster vaccine to BCG so that because in BCG its protective efficacy wanes in adolescents, it is not protective in adult pulmonary tuberculosis. So, we studied with this background, we studied MIP as a booster to BCG vaccine, and there also we got very encouraging results.
India is a tropical country, and that makes it quite friendly to the virus. This situation makes the region more vulnerable to viral and bacterial diseases. Against these diseases, it has been a war, not just a battle. But thankfully, we have managed to defeat a lot of diseases.
The last case of polio was found in Calcutta in 2011, and the WHO guidelines says that after that last case, at least for next 3 years, there should not be any case, and those 3 years should be without any case. So in 2014, WHO declared India polio free.
India was self-sufficient in the production of smallpox vaccine at the time of independence. BCG Vaccine Laboratory was set up in 1948 with the intention of sufficient vaccine production for the requirement in the country. Situated in Kasauli, Himachal Pradesh, Central Research Institute was established in the year 1905, which was earlier known in the name of Pasteur Institute.
CRI has been a mother institute for the vaccine industry in India because the concept of vaccine itself was started from CRI, Central Research Institute only. So, sample vaccine, that is the sheep brain rabies vaccine, was the first vaccine to be commercialized in Southeast Asian region. CRI is the only institute to make yellow fever vaccine in Southeast Asian region.
The important development in vaccine manufacturing was set up in private sector also. These units also produce vaccines for other diseases as well. The Pasteur Institute of India, located in Kunnur, developed influenza vaccine in 1957 and a BPL inactivated rabies vaccine in 1970. This institute developed and produced for the first time in India indigenous trivalent oral polio vaccine in 1970. This institute also developed vaccines for diphtheria, pertussis, tetanus, DPT, and other vaccines. The reason for success are not difficult to guess. In this endeavor, all three sectors, government, public and private sectors, have been involved.
Both public and private has got same moral responsibility to help the community save from the diseases. They are affordable vaccine to the people. India is the only country has done extremely well in vaccine field. Vaccine is not like a biosimilar. They are not like generic pharma. Every vaccine is treated as a new drug. So that way, India has done extremely well.
According to official records, there were 19 vaccine manufacturing units in public sector and 12 in private sector, even in 1971. However, the evolution of the sector has been steady. As soon as India was declared smallpox free in 1977, the country decided to launch National Immunization Program called Expanded Program of Immunization in 1978 with the introduction of BCG, OPV, DPT and typhoid vaccines. The Expanded Program of Immunization was renamed with some major changes in the focus by the launch of Universal Immunization Program on November 19, 1985. The measles vaccine was further added to the existing schedule. The success of Indian vaccines in the global market today stems from the industry's ability to produce low-cost vaccines which are available at the fraction of the prices offered by global majors. But what has been improving the performance in terms of production? The nation makes about 1/3 of the world's vaccines. About 2/3 of vaccines used by UNICEF are manufactured in India. But back in 1985, things were not rosy. None of the 6 vaccines that were part of the just launched universal immunization program were made in India. Discovering new vaccines is a risky venture that requires heavy investment over long periods. Only 1 in about 10,000 vaccine candidates makes it to the clinical trials that involves tests on humans. It can take an average 10 years to progress from the preclinical to the manufacturing stage.
For good vaccine development, we have to first identify the antigens of the pathogen which are protective in nature, and for that we need basic research first.
Actually, there are minimum 10 steps involved in developing a vaccine. The first step is developing or identifying the target antigen which causes the disease. That is the initial discovery. Once that is discovered, an agent which protects the disease is discovered, then afterwards it comes the serious business of developing vaccine. This other 9 steps involve cloning or expressing the antigen, manufacturing, assay development, supply chain, preclinical evaluation, clinical evaluation, intellectual property right, marketing and pharmacovigilance.
India Science is an internet-based science TV channel initiated by the Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, implemented and managed by Vigyan Prasar. India Science on the URL www.indiascience.in is a bilingual channel with content in Hindi and English. It can be accessed on any internet-enabled device. This video platform is dedicated to science and technology knowledge dissemination with a strong commitment to spreading scientific awareness, especially with Indian perspectives, ethos and cultural context. The India Science mobile app can be downloaded from the Google Play Store and Apple Store.
The scenario turned bright after the government formed a separate Department of Biotechnology in 1986, setting aside funds that powered a dedicated vaccine research program. Research was further accelerated after the Biotechnology Industry Research Assistant Council, better known as BIRAC, was formed under the Department of Science and Technology. This is a non-profit organization that links India's scientific community with the industry and foreign collaborators. India's efforts to achieve self-sustainability for all vaccine and universal immunization program in India and under the mandate of National Technology Mission on Immunization continue unabated. 2 companies were incorporated in March 1989, the Indian Vaccine Corporation Limited in Gurgaon and Bharat Immunologicals and Biologicals Corporation Limited in Bulandshahr, Uttar Pradesh.
Vipcol started its production in 1995, and till this year Vipcol has supplied around 2,000 million doses of the OPV for the purpose. We supplied to Ministry of Health also, we supplied to 2 years for UNICEF also. The future prospect, if you will see about Vipcol, then Vipcol is diversifying into oral cholera vaccine, and we are hopeful that we will do the same like polio.
The hepatitis B is a much feared disease. An estimated 25 crore people live with this infection in the world. But the vaccine was prohibitively expensive. A course of 3 doses costing over 2,000 rupees. During 1990s, assisted with a short-term loan from the Technology Development Board, then a part of the Department of Science and Technology, a group of non-resident Indians became the first Indian company to launch recombinant hepatitis B vaccine. The price was much lower than the imported version. This product was the first vaccine for hepatitis from any Indian firm that got a nod from the World Health Organization and was second to be selected by the UNICEF for inclusion in the Universal Immunization Program. Subsequent entry of companies like Bharat Biotech and Serum Institute of India led to further price decrease. Today, India has a number of institutions where vaccine-related projects are being pursued. They include institutions from the Department of Science and Technology and Department of Biotechnology, Indian Council of Medical Research and Council of Scientific and Industrial Research. Institutions like National Institute of Immunology, New Delhi, contribute to the understanding the basic science behind immunity and diseases that need vaccines.
National Institute of Immunology was established in 1981 by the Government of India to do cutting edge research on immunology with an aim to develop vaccines for infectious disease and fertility control. Over the years, not only we have succeeded in developing a vaccine against leprosy, which is available in market now, we have been able to do cutting edge research in the area of tuberculosis, malaria, pneumococcal diseases with an aim to develop vaccines.
The vaccine manufacturing and procedures for clinical trials have become systematic in India in recent years. The capacity of Indian vaccine manufacturers was put on the test when the need for vaccine against H1N1 in 2009 arose in the wake of pandemic alert. 3 manufacturers, Bharat Biotech, Serum Institute of India and Panacea Biotech Limited, developed pandemic flu vaccine in a short period of time.
Animals are of economic importance, and consequently make their health becomes important, not just from the animal point of view, but also from the point of view of humans. They also serve as a reservoir for diseases, so you can have diseases which would they are there in animals, but then they can be transmitted or carried over to the human system. So therefore, having vaccines for animals is also equally important.
India Science is an internet-based science TV channel initiated by the Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, implemented and managed by Vigyan Prasar. India Science on the URL www.indiascience.in is a bilingual channel with content in Hindi and English. It can be accessed on any internet-enabled device. This video platform is dedicated to science and technology knowledge dissemination with a strong commitment to spreading scientific awareness, especially with Indian perspectives, ethos and cultural context. The India Science mobile app can be downloaded from the Google Play Store and Apple Store.
In 2009, a new bivalent O1 and O139 oral cholera vaccine was licensed for 2-dose scheduled in India. The vaccine was made available at low price and received WHO pre-qualification. This meant people could be safe for several years with this vaccine. Till 2012, the Japanese encephalitis or JE vaccine was imported in our country. In recent years, the Department of Biotechnology, Department of Science and Technology, Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, Indian Council of Medical Research and institutes such as National Institute of Immunology, All India Institute of Cholera and Other Enteric Diseases, and All India Institute of Medical Sciences have started playing crucial, complementary and collaborative role in vaccine research and providing the needful impetus to the indigenous vaccine development.
Every 8 minutes, one woman dies because of cervical cancer. And in the world, every 2 women who are diagnosed for breast cancer, every 1 woman dies in our country. So you can understand it's a huge problem as far as India is concerned, and there is so much economical burden that we have to face. We initiated the first trials way back in 2003 to 2007 using dendritic cell based vaccine, and then having encouraging results from there on, we went ahead and National Institute of Immunology actually discovered this molecule which is called SPAG9. And right now, this phase 2 clinical trials are going on in Cancer Institute, Adyar, Chennai.
In the past few years, two private companies, Bharat Biotech and Serum Institute of India, has been doing research in a rotavirus vaccine for diarrhea, a disease which affects India and a number of tropical and subtropical countries. A US-based company had developed a vaccine for diarrhea, but the price was unaffordable for an average Indian. It was about $600 or about 40,000 rupees for a baby to be fully immunized. The price of the vaccine was unimaginable for a lot of us. Fortunately, both companies have come up with solutions, RotaVac and RotaSil. Thus, India now has a vaccine for rotavirus, which is even free from side effects and is affordable.
At THSTI, a similar function for the phase 3 study was done for the RotaVac vaccine. Now we are looking at the impact assessment of these vaccines. So the vaccines have been rolled out into the program. About half of all Indian children are now ready to get the rotavirus vaccine. This introduction was done in 2016 and has been increasing over time.
The development and successful completion of clinical trial of RotaVac is considered a major milestone and an example of successful public-private partnership and a unique social innovation model. The vaccine is likely to be made available at a cost of $1 per dose and can be stored at freezing temperatures, factors which contribute to further lowering the cost of immunization program.
What we are good at is we bring efficiency, speed, cost containment, and the clinical trial that costs, if it costs $1 billion in US, it costs $100 million in India. So that's the difference, tenfold, 10% of the US clinical trial cost. That's how we bring the efficiency so that it becomes affordable. Same quality like multinational, but affordable price because we bring the efficiency in technology, we bring the clinical research experience, and we bring the cost containment.
Serum Institute
Now take for example measles. There was 1 million children at an average according to WHO reports, they were dying annually. By us giving this vaccine at 8 and 10 rupees a dose, which is affordable to everybody, the death rate has come down and now only 86,000 children are dying. And I hope and pray that they'll come down to practically nothing, like we have done in Africa, where millions of children were dying because of meningitis. Today this year only 4,000 children are reported dying.
In August 2013, a typhoid conjugate vaccine, Type-BAR or TCV, a fourth generation vaccine against typhoid disease, was launched in India. In September 2013, the indigenous JE vaccine or GenVac was licensed in India. It was jointly developed by the scientists from the National Institute of Virology Pune and Bharat Biotech Limited. In 2007, India had joined the International Vaccine Institute in Seoul, South Korea, which was established on the initiatives of the UNDP as an international organization devoted to developing and introducing new and improved vaccines to protect the people especially children, against deadly infectious diseases. In January 2017, India became a full member with an annual contribution of $5 lakh, which is a very potent sign that India has decided to take a leap in research and development of vaccines.
Our range of vaccines what we have today is certainly not enough to deal with the future also. To make the future more secure, I think we need now to focus on many other vaccines, because many a times every year we see that some new disease comes up or some new infection comes up, and then we realize what is the overall quantum of problem or overall quantum of possible infections that we as human beings can face. So at Hafkin also we are trying to divert our areas of operations. For example, we are now looking for new vaccines which we can produce.
From the dismal situation about 3 decades ago, when we were running the universal immunization program, but not with a single of the 6 vaccines used being our own, we have galloped to a stage where in contrast we have a dozen indigenous vaccines in our kitty. A quantum leap indeed. The success story of vaccine is a story of grit, hard work, and ingenuity fueled by the nationalistic feeling of bringing health to all. It has saved people from death, from crippling an economy, from being burdened with huge expenditure on healthcare. With about 30 vaccines and a dominating share in supply to UNICEF, India now can feel to be a leader in vaccine production. We not only take care of our requirements, but export to 150 countries in the true spirit of Vasudeva Kutumbakam.